Welcome, dear viewers. For more exclusive, thrilling stories every week, join our membership. Sit back, relax, and sip your coffee. Enjoy. The first time I heard about the boy at Dead Man's Curve, I thought it was just another story folks tell to scare teenagers away from drinking and driving. I've been hauling freight for 15 years now, and every stretch of highway has its own boogeyman. The hitchhiking woman on Route 44, the phantom truck on Nebraska's I-80, the handprints that appear on your windows through the Mojave, just tall tales to keep long-haul drivers awake through the graveyard shift. But Clinton Road in West Milford, New Jersey? That's different. That's real. My name's Frank Delacroce, born and raised in Tottowal before the property taxes drove us out. 38 years old with nothing to show for it except an ex-wife in Garfield, a daughter who won't return my calls, and a 2018 Peterbilt 579 that I owe more on than it's worth. 6 months ago, I took a contract with Oakmont Logistics, running night deliveries to the paper mill up in Sterling Forest. The money was good. Too good, honestly. But the catch was the route. Every night, Monday through Friday, I'd haul pulp and chemicals up Clinton Road between midnight and 4 a.m. Now, if you're not from North Jersey, you might not know about Clinton Road. 10 miles of pitch-black asphalt winding through West Milford Township. No streetlights, no houses, no cell service. Just dense woods on both sides, and more curves than a country music starlet. The locals have stories dating back to the 1980s about satanic cults performing rituals in the abandoned iron furnace ruins near the reservoir. Stories about phantom vehicles that appear in your rear view, then vanish at Bearfort Road. But the most persistent legend centers on a bridge at Dead Man's Curve. They say a boy drowned there decades ago. If you stand on that bridge and throw a coin into the dark water below, he'll toss it back up to you. Then, as you scramble away in terror, he'll chase your vehicle, his small wet footprints appearing on the asphalt behind you. I'd laughed about it with the guys at the truck stop in Newfoundland. Ghost stories for the bridge troll's tip jar, I'd said, while nursing my coffee at the counter of Theo's diner. The waitress, older woman named Barb with red-framed glasses and hands veined like road maps, had leaned over while refilling my cup. "You taking Clinton Road tonight?" she'd asked, her Jersey accent thick as winter fog. "Yeah, straight up past the lake to the New York line." She'd pressed her thin lips together and slid a laminated card across the counter. "Then you'll be needing this." The card had 10 simple rules printed on it. No author, no explanation. Just a header reading, "For night drivers on Clinton Road, West Milford, New Jersey," followed by the list. I'd chuckled, ready to hand it back, when I noticed how the diner had gone quiet. The other drivers, the short order cook, even the kid bussing tables, all watching me with solemn expressions. "It's no joke, honey," Barb had said, closing my fingers around the card. "Not if you're driving that road between midnight and 4. My cousin's boy worked dispatch for the county. Said they've pulled 7 trucks from the reservoir in the past decade. Drivers never found." I'd pocketed the card to be polite, paid my bill, and headed out. That first night on Clinton Road, I'd kept the radio cranked to drown out the silence. But as I neared Dead Man's Curve, the static had grown too thick to bear. I'd switched it off just as my headlights swept across the small stone bridge. And there he was. A boy. Couldn't have been more than 9, standing on the shoulder, dripping wet, pale as the moon, eyes like empty wells. I'd swerved so hard I nearly jackknifed. When I finally straightened out and checked my mirrors, the kid was gone. Heart thundering, I pulled that laminated card from my pocket and read the first rule under my dome light. 1. Never stop for pedestrians on Quinton Road between midnight and 4 a.m. They aren't living. That's when I realized two things. I'd been hired because the regular drivers refused this route, and I wasn't being paid to haul paper pulp. I was being paid to survive. That night, I couldn't sleep. The image of that soaked kid on Quinton Road kept startling me awake. Each time I closed my eyes, there he was. Small frame, hollow gaze, water streaming from his clothes onto the asphalt. I called my dispatcher the next morning. "Hey, Vince, about that Quinton Road route." "Let me guess." He cut in, voice flat. "You want out?" "I just need to know what I'm dealing with here." The line went quiet for a beat. "Frank, we pay triple for that route for a reason. If you want a different assignment, I get it. No hard feelings." "Triple pay. That would clear my truck loan in 8 months instead of 3 years. I thought about my daughter's college fund. Empty as my fridge. "I'll keep the route," I said. "But I want to know why Barb at Theo's gave me this rule card." Another pause. "Look, I'm not supposed to talk about it. Company policy. But meet me at Alpine Boat Basin at 6, off the clock." Alpine Boat Basin sits on the Hudson, 20 miles east of Clinton Road. I found Vince at a picnic table near the water, looking smaller outside his dispatch office, shoulders hunched in a jet's windbreaker despite the mild May evening. "My uncle drove that road in the 90s, he said without preamble. "Last run, they found his truck wrapped around a tree. No body, just his boots sitting neatly in the driver's floorboard, laces tied." He handed me a newer, plastic-coated version of the rule card Barb had given me. "Company makes these now. Used to be just a local thing, mimeographed at the library. Now it's official equipment, like fire extinguishers." I examined the card, the rules crisply printed. Never stop for pedestrians on Clinton Road between midnight and 4 a.m. They aren't living. If your radio catches a station playing big band music, turn it off immediately. Don't acknowledge the headlights that follow exactly 50 yards behind you. They'll disappear at Barefoot Road. If you see a car stopped with its hazards on, do not stop to help. Drive past at regular speed. Never, under any circumstances, throw coins from the bridge at Dead Man's Curve. If an animal crosses your path, do not swerve. Hit it. What looks like an animal often isn't. Should your truck stall, stay inside with windows up and doors locked until dawn. "So this is real?" I asked, hearing my voice sound distant. Vince shrugged. "Real enough that the company has an arrangement with local police. They don't investigate our drivers disappearing on that stretch. Insurance pays out triple for any driver lost on Clinton Road." "Jesus." "Your choice, Frank. Triple pay or a regular route. No judgment either way. I needed that money. My ex was threatening to take me back to court over missed child support payments." "I'll stick with it," I said. Vince nodded, his expression grim. "Then memorize those rules." One more thing. The old-timers say the boy at the bridge is harmless compared to what lives in the Barefoot Mountain area. That night, I arrived at the Newfoundland depot early. My trailer was already loaded and sealed, labeled paper pulp chemical additive. I did my pre-trip inspection under buzzing sodium lights while moths threw themselves against the bulbs. The dispatcher handed me my manifest without meeting my eyes. I stopped at Theo's for coffee. Barb wasn't working, but the young waitress gave me a sympathetic look when I ordered my usual black coffee and apple pie. "Clinton Road tonight?" she asked. I nodded. "My brother works for the sheriff, says there's a pattern to who makes it and who doesn't." She leaned closer. "The ones who think it's a joke. They don't come back." At 11:40 p.m., I pulled onto Clinton Road from Route 23. The night pressed against my windshield, my headlights carving a tunnel through darkness so thick it felt solid. Ancient trees crowded both sides, branches reaching toward the road like gnarled fingers. I kept the radio off. Rule number 2 was clear about strange broadcasts. The first hour passed uneventfully. The reservoir appeared on my right, its surface black glass under faint moonlight. My lights swept across a rusted gate leading to an old iron furnace, the site of those supposed cult activities. At 1:17 a.m., my high beams caught something in the road ahead, a deer, frozen mid-crossing. I remembered rule number 6. If an animal crosses your path, do not swerve. Hit it. What looks like an animal often isn't. I kept my course steady, heart hammering. The deer stood motionless, eyes reflecting green fire. As I approached, it didn't bolt. At 50 yards, I saw what was wrong. Its legs bent backward, its neck twisted at an angle that would snap vertebrae. At 20 yards, it smiled, teeth too square, too white to belong in a deer's mouth. I gripped the wheel and pressed the accelerator. The impact never came. As my bumper should have hit it, the deer simply wasn't there anymore. The road ahead was empty. My hands shook so badly, I had to pull onto the shoulder. Taking deep breaths, I reminded myself about rule number 7. Should your truck stall, stay inside with windows up and doors locked until dawn. I hadn't stalled, but the same principle applied. Stay in the cab. I checked my mirrors. Headlights appeared around the bend behind me, holding steady at exactly 50 yards back. Rule number 3 flashed through my mind. Don't acknowledge the headlights that follow exactly 50 yards behind you. They'll disappear at Barefoot Road. I put the truck in gear and pulled back onto the asphalt. The headlights followed, maintaining that precise distance. Dead Man's Curve was coming up. I felt my pocket for the rule card, seeking reassurance in its laminated surface. The card was gone. Panic surged through me as I patted my empty pocket. The rule card was my lifeline on this road. I scanned the cab floor, checked under my seat, even flipped down my sun visor. Nothing. The headlights behind me maintained their exact distance. Ahead, the road curved sharply. Dead Man's Curve. The bridge where that boy had drowned decades ago was just around the bend. I slowed as I approached, trying to recall rule number 5. Something about not throwing coins from the bridge. Simple enough. I had no plans to stop and play games with whatever lurked in those waters. The stone bridge appeared in my headlights, its low wall covered with moss. The reservoir stretched on my right, its surface like black oil in the darkness. I guided my rig around the curve, knuckles white on the wheel. No boy appeared on the bridge. I exhaled slowly, shoulders dropping an inch. Then my engine coughed. Once. Twice. The dashboard lights flickered. "No, no, no," I muttered, tapping the fuel gauge. It read half full. There was no reason for the truck to. The engine died completely. Momentum carried me forward onto the bridge itself before the truck shuddered to a stop. Rule number 7 flashed in my mind. Should your truck stall, stay inside with windows up and doors locked until dawn. I checked my watch. 1:42 a.m. Dawn was still hours away. The headlights that had been following me were gone. In their place, darkness pressed against my windows like a living thing, hungry for entry. I double-checked my doors, locked. Windows up. My eyes darted to the rearview mirror, then the side mirrors. Nothing but blackness. The moon had vanished behind clouds. Even the stars seemed to have retreated. I reached for my phone. Still no signal, as expected on this stretch. I tried the radio, thinking I might at least get some weather band channel for company. Static hissed from the speakers. I turned the dial slowly, searching for anything. more static, then, faintly, violins, brass instruments, a melody that sounded decades old. Big band music. Rule number 2 kicked my brain. If your radio catches a station playing big band music, turn it off immediately. I jabbed the power button. The music continued, growing clearer. Glenn Miller's Moonlight Serenade. My grandfather used to play this record in his garage while working on his Buick. I punched the button again, harder. The volume increased instead of cutting off. The music now sounded like it was playing just outside my cab, not from my speakers at all. A light tapping came from my driver's side window. My breath caught. Standing on the bridge beside my truck was a small boy, completely soaked. Water pooled at his bare feet. He held something in his upturned palm, something that caught what little moonlight filtered through the clouds. A quarter. My quarter. I hadn't thrown any coins into the water. I never carried change, just my debit card and the occasional 20 tucked in my wallet. But there he stood, holding up a coin as if returning it to me, water streaming from his saturated clothes. I remembered rule number 1. Never stop for pedestrians on Clinton Road between midnight and 4 a.m. They aren't living, but I hadn't stopped voluntarily. My truck had stalled. The boy tapped again, more insistently. The truck cab grew colder. My breath fogged in front of my face. The windows began to frost over from the inside, intricate patterns spreading across the glass. The boy pressed his palm flat against my window, leaving a wet print. Where his hand touched, the frost receded, creating a perfect handprint in the ice. I closed my eyes and gripped the wheel, focusing on my breathing. When I opened them again, the boy's face was directly against the glass, only inches from mine, separated only by the frosted window. His mouth gaped open, far wider than any human mouth should stretch. Something else moved on the bridge behind him. A taller figure, indistinct in the darkness. Then another, and another. Shapes gathered on the bridge, surrounding my truck. I fumbled for the ignition, twisting the key. The engine clicked, but wouldn't turn over. The radio static morphed into voices, whispers layered over the music, too many to distinguish individual words. My phone lit up suddenly, not with a signal, but with an alarm. 3 a.m. I didn't remember setting an alarm for this hour. The notification banner read, "Throw it back." I hadn't set that alarm. I didn't write that message. The boy's fingers curled against the glass, nails scraping the surface. The sound cut through the music, high and shrill. Behind him, the gathering shapes drew closer. I caught glimpses of them as they moved. Clothes from different eras, all drenched, all moving with a drifting, weightless quality. Drowned. All of them drowned. The boy's mouth moved again, forming words I couldn't hear. I didn't need to. I could read his blue lips clearly enough. Give it back. My eyes darted around the cab, searching for anything coin-sized I could return. My gaze fell on the cup holder where I'd tossed my wedding band after the divorce papers came through. Without thinking, I grabbed the ring and rolled my window down just a crack, not even an inch. Cold water immediately poured in through the small opening, far more than should have been possible. It gushed into the cab like a fire hose, soaking my arm, my seat. I thrust the gold band through the gap and heard it ping against the bridge's stone wall. The flood stopped instantly. The window sealed itself shut. The boy stepped back from the truck, head tilted curiously as he examined what I'd offered. The other figures drifted closer, surrounding him, peering at my ring. The music faded. The frost on my windows began to recede. The boy looked up at me one last time, his mouth closed, returning to human proportions. He nodded once, a solemn, almost grateful gesture, then turned and climbed over the bridge wall. One by one, The other figures followed, slipping over the wall and disappearing. My engine roared to life without warning, gauges jumping to normal readings. The headlights brightened, cutting through the darkness ahead. Heart still racing, I put the truck in gear and eased forward. My sleeve and seat remained soaking wet, proof that I hadn't imagined it all. As I pulled away from the bridge, my phone lit up with a text message, despite the lack of service bars. Unknown sender. Rule number 8. If your vehicle stalls on Dead Man's Curve, offer something precious. Not currency. They don't want your money. They want what you value. I drove on, shaken and confused. The road straightened past the bridge, and I pushed my speed higher, eager to put distance between myself and whatever had just happened. But as Clinton Road wound deeper into West Milford's Pine Barrens, I realized I was only halfway through my route, and there were rules I still didn't know. The next stretch of Clinton Road ran alongside Barefoot Mountain. Massive pine trees crowded the roadside, their branches forming a tunnel that seemed to swallow my headlights. The digital clock on my dashboard read 2:17 a.m. Still hours before dawn. My clothes were drying, but the chill lingered. That text message kept flashing in my mind. Rule number 8. If your vehicle stalls on Dead Man's Curve, offer something precious. Not currency. They don't want your money. They want what you value. Who had sent it? How had it arrived with no cell service? And what other rules didn't I know? I tried to focus on driving, but my thoughts kept returning to what Vince had said at Alpine Boat Basin. The old-timers say the boy at the bridge is harmless compared to what lives in the Barefoot Mountain area. The road narrowed as it climbed higher, hugging the mountain's contours. My headlights caught the reflective eyes of animals watching from the treeline. Normal deer this time, I hoped. Real ones that didn't smile with human teeth. A signpost emerged from the darkness. Barefoot Road, 1 mile. I recalled rule number 3. Don't acknowledge the headlights that follow exactly 50 yards behind you. They'll disappear at Barefoot Road. Those headlights had vanished when my truck stalled at the bridge. Would they return now? I checked my side mirrors. The road behind me remained empty and dark. My phone buzzed again. Another text from the unknown sender. Rule number 9, when you reach Barefoot Road, do not look at the abandoned cabin on your right. Eyes forward. Keep driving. I swallowed hard. There was no way anyone could be tracking my exact location on this road. No cell towers, no GPS signal. And yet, the truck cab radio switched on by itself, startling me. Static filled the speakers, but underneath it, a voice spoke. Not big band music this time, just a woman's voice speaking numbers. 43, 17, 91, 28. Something about the voice raised the hair on my arms. Each number was pronounced with perfect clarity, but the tone was flat, emotionless. I jabbed the power button. The radio continued. 16, 72, 5. I yanked the volume knob off entirely. The voice paused momentarily, then resumed, louder. 4, 3, 2. I braced myself for whatever would come after 1. Look right. Every instinct screamed against it. Rule number 9 had been explicit. Don't look at the cabin. But the voice's command pulled at me, a compulsion that made my neck muscles tense with the effort of resistance. Look right now. My eyes watered from the strain of keeping them on the road ahead. The sign for Barefoot Road appeared in my headlights. Look or crash. As if responding to the voice's threat, my steering wheel jerked violently to the left, toward the mountain's drop-off. I fought for control, wrestling it straight again. Whatever was happening, it wanted me to either look right or drive off the cliff. I chose the lesser evil. As I passed the Barefoot Road sign, I flicked my eyes quickly to the right. The cabin sat back from the road about 50 yards, a dark silhouette against the darker forest. A single light burned in an upstairs window. In that brief glance, I saw a figure standing in that window. A woman, her face pale against the glass. I recognized her immediately. My mother. Mom had died when I was 16. Cancer. Long before I ever drove a truck, ever came to Clinton Road. I returned my focus to the road, hands shaking on the wheel. The radio fell silent. The road ahead remained clear. At the intersection with Barefoot Road, I prepared to turn left. The route would take me deeper into the mountain, past the old iron furnace ruins. But as I slowed for the turn, another text arrived. "Wrong choice, Frankie. Mom wants you to come home." Only my mother had ever called me Frankie. I ignored the message and turned left onto Barefoot Road. The grade steepened, my truck's engine straining against the climb. The trees pressed closer to the pavement here, branches scraping the sides of my trailer. The radio spoke again, my mother's voice this time. "Frankie, why didn't you visit me in the hospital more often? I waited for you." My throat tightened. She was right. I'd been a teenager, selfish and scared. I'd avoided the hospital as her condition worsened, unable to face what was happening. "I'm sorry," I whispered, though I knew this wasn't really her. "Turn around, Frankie. Come back to the cabin. I'm waiting for you." My phone lit up with yet another message. Rule number 10, the mountain knows your regrets. It will use them. Keep driving. The road ahead split unexpectedly, a fork not shown on any map. The left path continued climbing around Barefoot Mountain. The right descended back toward the cabin. "Frankie, please, I'm so lonely here." My mother's voice cracked with emotion, so familiar it hurt. I'd heard that exact tone when she'd called me from her hospital bed, asking if I could visit. I've made excuses about homework, about basketball practice. I never saw her alive again. My foot eased off the accelerator, the truck slowing as I approached the fork. The right turn would take me back to her, a chance to apologize, to see her once more. But it wasn't her. It couldn't be. Rule number 10, I repeated aloud. The mountain knows your regrets. It will use them. Keep driving. I forced my foot back onto the gas pedal and took the left fork, continuing up the mountain. The cab filled with my mother's weeping, so real and raw that tears sprang to my own eyes. Then her cries transformed, deepening into something inhuman. A growl rose underneath the sobbing, building into a furious roar that shook the entire truck. My headlights dimmed, nearly extinguishing before brightening again. In that brief darkness, something massive moved across the road ahead, a shadow too big to be a bear, too low to the ground to be a man. When the lights steadied, the road was empty again. "You should have turned back," a new voice said through the radio, a man's voice this time, deep and amused. "She wasn't your mother, true. But I could have made her real enough for you, Frank. Real enough to say goodbye properly." The voice chuckled. "Maybe your daughter would like to visit instead. Amelia, isn't it? She's 15 now. Same age you were when your mother got sick." Ice flooded my veins. "Leave my daughter out of this." "Oh, but she already talks to me. Online, you know. Teenagers share so much with strangers these days. She thinks I'm a boy from her math class." "You're lying," I said, but fear clawed at my gut. Amelia had stopped taking my calls months ago, according to her mother. Was this why? "Check your phone, Frank." A new text message appeared, a photo. Amelia, sitting in her bedroom, today's date and time stamp in the corner. She was looking directly at the camera, smiling. "That's not possible," I whispered. "The mountain reaches far beyond Clinton Road," the voice said, "and I am the mountain. My phone buzzed again. An incoming call from Amelia. A call that shouldn't connect out here with no service. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering over the answer button. Was it really her? Or another trick? A new text flashed across the screen, overriding the call. Rule number 11. The mountain offers connections with loved ones. Never accept them. The call ended before I could decide, the screen returning to the photo of Amelia. But now she wasn't alone in the frame. A dark shape stood behind her. A shadowy outline with no features except 2 pale points where eyes should be. Pure rage crashed through my fear. "Stay away from her," the radio laughed. "Drive on, Frank. Complete your route. But know that I've marked her now. Unless what?" I demanded. "Unless you agree to bring her here. One visit, that's all I ask." "Never." "Then perhaps I'll go to her instead. Parents' weekend is coming up at her school, isn't it? I could attend in your place. She wouldn't even notice the difference at first." The engine coughed suddenly, the truck lurching. Not now. Not another stall. I was miles from anywhere, surrounded by dense forest on a road that wasn't even on most maps. "Just say yes, Frank. One little yes, and your truck keeps running. Your daughter stays safe. So simple." My phone lit up again. Rule number 12. The mountain will bargain. It will never honor its side. Keep driving. The truck sputtered again. The temperature gauge swung into the red. Steam hissed from under the hood. Time to choose, Frank. Her or you. I gripped the wheel tighter and pressed the accelerator to the floor. The engine roared, then shrieked as I redlined it, pushing the failing truck forward. "Interesting choice," the voice mused. "But futile." Ahead, the trees parted. A small clearing appeared alongside the road, a turnaround point with a single wooden post. As my headlights swept across it, I saw a small laminated card nailed to the post. The rule card I'd lost, or another copy. As the truck's engine began to seize, I wrenched the wheel toward the clearing, braking hard. The massive vehicle skidded to a stop, just feet from the wooden post. Rule number 7 echoed in my mind. Should your truck stall? Stay inside with windows up and doors locked until dawn. But dawn was hours away, and that card might contain information I needed to survive. To protect Amelia. Steam billowed from under the hood as the engine ticked and pinged. The clearing around me seemed unnaturally quiet. No crickets, no rustling leaves, despite the breeze I could see moving the branches. I weighed my options. Stay in the cab and hope nothing broke in before sunrise, or make a dash for the card. My phone lit up again. Another message from the unknown sender. The rules are different at Bearford Junction. What protected you before may doom you now. I peered through my windshield at the wooden post. It stood about 20 feet away, a 6-second sprint. The card nailed to it caught the faint moonlight, beckoning. I pressed the toggle for my high beams to better illuminate the clearing. Nothing appeared in the wash of light, no figures, no movement. Just the post, the card, and surrounding pines. Decision made, I grabbed my mag light from the glove compartment and cracked my door open an inch. The night air rushed in, cold and sharp with pine sap. No sounds, no voices. I threw the door open and bolted toward the post, flashlight beam bouncing wildly ahead of me. 5 steps, 10, 15. The post didn't get any closer. I ran harder, muscles burning, but the distance remained unchanged. 20 feet, always 20 feet. I stopped, breathing hard. The truck behind me now looked 20 feet away too. I was stuck in some sort of spatial loop. Frank. My daughter's voice came from the darkness between the trees to my right. I swung my flashlight toward the sound. Amelia stood just inside the tree line, dressed in her school uniform, plaid skirt, navy blazer with the Creskill Academy crest. Her dark hair was pulled back in a neat ponytail, just like in the picture on my dashboard. "Dad, help me," she said, her voice small and frightened. "I'm lost." I knew it wasn't really her. Couldn't be. But she looked so solid, so real, down to the tiny scar on her chin from a bicycle fall when she was 7. "You're not Amelia," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. She stepped closer, into the full beam of my flashlight. Tears streaked her face. "Dad, it's me. I was driving up to see you, to apologize. The GPS brought me here, but my car broke down, and I can't get a signal, and there's something in the woods." "Stop it," I growled. "My daughter's in Creskill, safe at her mother's." "I snuck out," she said. "Mom's been drinking again. Please, Dad." That detail hit hard. My ex-wife's struggles with alcohol were something Amelia wouldn't want people knowing, something this thing couldn't have pulled from my mind. Unless... I swung my flashlight back toward the post. The laminated card still hung there, tantalizingly out of reach. But now I noticed something else. Shoe prints in the dirt leading to and from the post. Someone else had been here recently. Someone real. A cold certainty settled over me. Whatever was happening on Clinton Road wasn't just supernatural. Someone was orchestrating parts of it, monitoring it, using it. "Dad, please," Amelia, or the thing pretending to be her, begged. "I'm scared." I made a choice. I walked toward her, watching her expression shift from fear to something like triumph. Too subtle for anyone who didn't know Amelia's face as well as I did. The tiny crinkle at the corner of her eyes that appeared when she thought she'd gotten away with something. When I was 5 feet away, I stopped. Amelia has green eyes. This Amelia's eyes were brown. The thing wearing my daughter's appearance went still. Its eyes blinked, sideways like a reptile's. "So close," it said, no longer using Amelia's voice, but something deeper, older. "You want her so badly to forgive you, to love you again. I could have given you that. You can't give what isn't yours." It smiled with my daughter's mouth, teeth too sharp now, too numerous. "Everything here is mine, Frank. Including you, if you stay much longer." I backed away, keeping my eyes on the creature. It didn't follow, just watched with those reptilian eyes in my daughter's face. A sudden idea struck me. I stopped trying to reach the post directly, and instead began walking backward toward my truck, keeping my flashlight trained on the Amelia thing. "Running away again?" it taunted. "Like you ran from your mother's deathbed? Like you ran from your marriage? Like you run from everything hard in your life?" I kept moving, one careful step at a time. The truck seemed closer now, 15 feet, 10. "You'll never reach that card," it said. "Others have tried. Their bones feed the trees now." I fumbled behind me for the driver's door handle. My fingers closed around it just as the creature lunged, no longer appearing as Amelia, but as something long-limbed and wrong, joints bending in directions joints shouldn't bend. I threw myself into the cab and slammed the door. Claws scraped the window as I hit the lock. The thing pressed itself against the glass, its face shifting between forms. Amelia, my mother, my ex-wife, then something not human at all. A face that hurt to look at directly. I jammed the key in the ignition and turned. The engine clicked weakly, but didn't catch. "Rule 7 won't save you here," the creature said, its voice perfectly audible through the closed window. "The rules have changed, remember?" My phone lit up with another cryptic message. "When direct paths fail, seek reflection." I frowned. Reflection. I glanced at my rearview mirror and froze. In the mirror, the post with the card appeared directly behind my truck, no longer 20 feet away, but just outside my rear window. and in the mirror, no creature stalked around my cab. The rules had changed. Reality itself had changed at Bearfort Junction. What was real and what was illusion? I shifted into reverse, turned to look over my shoulder, and saw nothing but darkness through the back window. But in the rearview mirror, the post remained visible. Trusting the reflection over my direct sight, I eased off the brake. The truck rolled backwards smoothly despite the supposedly dead engine. The creature howled, hurling itself against the driver's window with renewed fury. Cracks spread across the glass. "You can't escape what you can't see," it hissed. I kept my eyes on the mirror, watching the post draw closer until a soft thump told me I'd reached it. Still looking only in the mirror, I cracked my window, the opposite side from where the creature clawed, and reached back. My fingers closed around something smooth and laminated. The card. The moment I touched it, reality snapped back like a rubber band. The creature vanished. The glass repaired itself. My truck's engine roared to life, gauges returning to normal. I pulled the card through the window and held it under the dome light. It was identical to the one Vince had given me, but with additional rules written below the original 7. As I scanned the new instructions, I noticed something else had appeared in my truck. A small camera mounted to my windshield, its red light blinking steadily. A dash cam that hadn't been there minutes ago. I reached for it cautiously. The device was solid, real. A standard trucking dash cam with a memory card slot. I pressed the playback button. The small screen lit up, showing the road ahead. But something was wrong with the image. The trees along Clinton Road stood straight and normal, not the twisted, grasping shapes I'd been driving past. The sky showed early dawn light, not the pitch darkness outside my windows now. The timestamp in the corner read 5:17 a.m., almost 3 hours in the future. A map icon pulsed in the dashcam's corner with a route highlighted, not the one I'd been following, but a different path through Bearfort Mountain marked Safe Passage. I put the truck in gear and followed the dashcam's route, watching two realities unfold. The twisted, night-shrouded road actually visible through my windshield, and the straight, dawn-lit version on the camera screen. I chose to trust the camera. The new rule was clear. Truth exists in recordings. The question was, who was leaving these rules? And why? The truck moved forward through two different versions of Clinton Road. Through my windshield, twisted trees reached with branch fingers toward the cab, their bark rippling like muscle. But on the dash cam small screen, those same trees stood normal and straight, leaves rustling in an early morning breeze that wouldn't arrive for hours. I kept my eyes flicking between the road ahead and the camera screen, trying to reconcile the contradictions. When the dash cam showed a turn that didn't exist in my direct vision, I took it anyway. The truck responded as if the turn were real, even as my senses screamed that I was driving straight into solid forest. My phone remained silent now. No more mysterious messages, just the rules card on the seat beside me and the dash cam showing a reality I couldn't otherwise perceive. According to the regular route, I should have headed north toward the Sterling Forest paper mill. But the dash cam guided me southeast, deeper into West Milford's remote sections. The night pressed close outside, a wall of darkness beyond my headlights. A fork appeared in the road, visible both through my windshield and on the camera. But while my direct view showed the right path leading up to a sheer cliff face, the dash cam displayed an open road continuing around a gentle curve. I took the right fork, trusting the camera. My truck rolled forward normally, though my heart hammered as the cliff face approached. At the last second, the stone wall seemed to ripple and part like smoke, allowing me through. The dashboard clock read 3:22 a.m. The dashcam timestamp showed 5:37 a.m. The gap was widening. A road sign emerged from the darkness. Clinton Furnace, 1 mile. The old iron furnace where local legends placed those cult activities. It wasn't on my assigned route. The furnace appeared suddenly. A stone structure like a small castle tower, crumbling but still intact after nearly 2 centuries. In my headlights, it looked solid and ordinary. On the dash cam, it glowed with a faint blue light. The camera's highlighted route led directly to the furnace. I slowed the truck, reluctant to leave the relative safety of the cab again, but the engine suddenly died, forcing the decision. I sat in silence for a moment, listening. No voices from the radio, no texts on my phone, just the soft ticking of the cooling engine and my own breathing. The rules card lay on the passenger seat, its laminated surface catching the dome light. I reread the additional instructions. One of them mentioned recordings containing truth. That had proven accurate with the dash cam. Another rule warned about the mountain offering connections with loved ones. That matched my encounter with the false Amelia. I studied the dash cam again. It now showed a figure standing in the furnace doorway, a man in what looked like an old park ranger uniform. He waved directly at the camera, beckoning. Through my windshield, the furnace doorway remained empty and dark. I slipped the rules card into my pocket and grabbed my flashlight. If I was going out there, I wanted the rules with me this time. The air outside hit me like a wall of ice, far colder than they had any right to be. My breath clouded thick in front of me as I approached the furnace, keeping my flashlight beam trained on the doorway. "Hello?" I called, my voice sounding flat and muffled in the strange air. No answer came. The doorway remained empty to my direct sight. I pulled out my phone and switched to the camera app. Looking at the furnace through my phone screen, I nearly dropped the device in shock. There he was, the ranger, now standing just inside the entrance. My phone showed what the dash cam had shown, a different layer of reality. "You can see me now, can't you?" the ranger said, his voice coming through my phone speaker, though I heard nothing with my ears. "Good. We don't have much time." "Who are you?" I asked. "David Kerr. Former park ranger for the Newark watershed. Been trapped here since 1998. I kept my phone up, watching this ghost or whatever he was. Trapped how? Same way you will be if you don't listen carefully." He gestured for me to enter the furnace. "Come inside. It's one of the few safe spots on Clinton Road. Neutral ground." I hesitated. The furnace looked like an excellent place to get ambushed. "I can't force you," Kerr said. "But dawn's coming, and you need to understand what you've stumbled into if you want to see your daughter again." That got me moving. I stepped through the doorway, keeping my phone up to see Kerr through its screen. The interior was a single round chamber about 20 feet across. The stone walls rose to a domed ceiling, with a hole in the center, where the chimney had once been. Moonlight filtered through, casting a pale circle on the dirt floor. "What do you mean about my daughter?" I demanded. Kerr's expression was grim. "The thing in the mountain marked her when it touched you, connected you. It works like a virus, spreading through bonds between people." Cold fear spread through my chest. What is it? What's happening on this road? Something old woke up about 30 years ago. Started with small manifestations. The boy at the bridge, phantom cars. Then it got stronger, more aware. Started reaching beyond the road. But what is it? We called it the Devourer. It feeds on fear, regret, guilt, strong emotions. Been trapped under Bearfort Mountain for centuries, but it's working its way free, bit by bit. Every person it breaks down creates another crack in its prison. I thought of the thing that had pretended to be Amelia, the way it knew things about my past, my regrets. So the rules started as trucker superstitions. Then someone, never figured out who, began documenting which ones actually worked. The card evolved as people survived encounters and added what they learned. Kerr glanced upward, toward the hole in the ceiling. Company got involved about 10 years ago. Oakmont Logistics. He nodded. They discovered they could harvest something from drivers who traveled this road, some energy the devourer releases when it feeds. They've been sending people through deliberately, knowing some won't make it back. That's why the pay is so high, I murmured. Triple rate, right? Plus bonus for completing 5 consecutive nights. I nodded, feeling sick. Those who survive 5 nights develop a resistance, become useful to the company in other ways. What ways? Kerr's image flickered on my phone screen. Look at your dash cam footage from Dead Man's Curve again. You'll understand. I stepped back outside and climbed into my truck. The dash cam was still running. I rewound to the bridge incident and watched. The footage showed something I hadn't seen in the moment. A figure standing on the far side of the bridge, filming with what looked like professional equipment, recording the whole encounter with the drowned boy. They're studying it, I whispered, using drivers as test subjects. I jumped as Kerr's voice came from beside me. He sat in my passenger seat, visible now without the phone or dash cam, more solid somehow. Dawn approaches, he said. Boundaries between realities thin. That's why I can appear to you directly now. How do I get out of this? How do I protect my daughter? Complete the route, make the delivery, but don't come back tomorrow night. That's simple. No, the devourer will try to stop you now that you know, and Oakmont won't let their investment go easily. Investment? I'm just a driver. Kerr shook his head. You've survived encounters that kill most people. You're valuable now, and you've seen too much. My truck's radio switched on by itself, tuning to static before a voice broke through. Vince, my dispatcher. Driver Delacroce, respond. Your GPS shows you off-route. Is there a problem with your delivery? I glanced at Kerr, who put a finger to his lips. No problem, I answered. Had to detour around a washout. Back on track now. Roger that. Be advised your scheduled return time has been moved up. We'll need you back at the depot by 6 a.m. for an urgent pickup. Copy that. Should make it with no problem. The radio clicked off. They know, Kerr said. They're tracking the dash cam. When reality splits like this, they can see both versions. So what do I do? Complete this route. Then get to your daughter before they do. The connection works both ways. The devourer reached her through you, but you can find her through it too. Kerr pulled something from his pocket. A small stone, black and glossy like obsidian, but with swirls of deep blue when the light caught it. Take this. It's a fragment from the devourer's prison. Helps see through illusions, but more importantly, it'll mask your presence once you leave Clinton Road. Buy you some time. I accepted the stone, surprised by how warm it felt. Why are you helping me? Kerr's form flickered again, less solid now. 25 years trapped between worlds changes a man. I've watched too many drivers die. Too many families destroyed when the devourer followed connections home. Like it might do with Amelia. He nodded grimly. The company knows this happens. They clean up afterward, make people disappear. Call them tragic accidents, all for their precious energy harvesting. How do I stop it permanently? You don't. Not alone. But you can save your daughter and yourself if you're smart. He pointed to the road ahead, now bathed in pre-dawn light through the dash cam, while still pitch black through my windshield. Follow the camera's path exactly. When you reach the paper mill, make your delivery normally, act like nothing's wrong. And then, drive south. Don't go home. Don't go to your ex-wife's. Find your daughter at school today and run. Use the stone to hide your trail. For how long? Kerr's form was barely visible now, dawn approaching in the real world. Until I can reach the others like me. There's a resistance for me. People who survived Clinton Road. People who lost family to the devourer and the company's cover-ups. He pressed a folded paper into my hand. Coordinates. A safe place in the Pine Barrens. Go there after you get your daughter. His voice faded as he spoke the final words. And whatever you do, don't return to Clinton Road. The fifth night is when they take you completely. Then he was gone, leaving me alone in the truck with the stone, the paper, and the dash cam still showing a reality hours ahead of my own. I put the truck in gear and followed the glowing route on the camera screen, the furnace falling behind me. The ruins looked abandoned and ordinary in my rearview mirror. No sign that anything unusual had ever happened there. But the stone in my pocket pulsed with heat, a reminder that Clinton Road's nightmare was real, and I was only halfway through it. The Sterling Forest paper mill materialized out of the darkness like a concrete fortress. Massive smokestacks loomed against the night sky, venting plumes that glowed faintly orange in my headlights. Chain-link fence topped with razor wires surrounded the facility, a stark contrast to the dense forest that pressed close on all sides. According to my truck's clock, it was 4:03 a.m. The dashcam showed 6:18 a.m., with morning sunlight glinting off the mill's metal siding. The time discrepancy continued to widen. I pulled up to the security gate, rolling down my window to present my credentials to the guard. The stone in my pocket pulsed with warmth against my thigh. The guard stepped out of his booth, an older man with a white mustache and security uniform that hung loose on his thin frame. His nameplate read, Wilson. "Delivery from Oakmont," I said, extending my paperwork. Wilson barely glanced at it. His eyes locked onto mine with an intensity that raised the hair on my arms. "You're running late, Mr. Delacroce," he said. "We expected you 20 minutes ago." "Had to detour around some road issues," I replied, keeping my voice steady. Wilson smiled thinly. "Clinton Road can be troublesome this time of night, can it?" He knew. The casual reference sent a cold spike through me. "Just the usual potholes and deer," I said with a shrug. "Indeed." Wilson passed my paperwork back and hit the button to raise the gate. "Bay 4 for unloading. Someone will meet you there." I nodded and drove through, watching him in my mirror. He stood in the middle of the road, still staring after my truck. The loading dock area was brightly lit, harsh sodium lights creating pools of yellow on the concrete. My dash cam showed a busy facility, with workers moving equipment and forklifts shuttling between warehouse doors. But through my windshield, the area appeared deserted except for a single figure standing beside Bay 4. I backed my trailer up to the dock with practiced ease. When I stepped down from the cab, the night air hit me with that same unnatural coldness I'd felt at the furnace. My breath clouded white in front of me. The lone figure approached, a woman in a white lab coat over dark slacks. Her hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and she wore glasses with thick black frames. She didn't introduce herself, just held out a digital tablet. "Sign here, please," she said. Her voice carried no accent, no distinguishing characteristics at all. It was peculiarly flat, like someone speaking who had learned the words phonetically. I scribbled my signature on the tablet. "Will you unseal the trailer, or shall I?" she asked. "I've got it," I replied, moving to the back of the truck. Breaking the seal and unlocking the trailer doors, I pulled them open. Instead of the paper chemicals I'd been told I was hauling, the trailer contained a single large object covered with a tarp. It was roughly cylindrical, about 7 feet tall and 4 feet in diameter. "What is this?" I asked. The woman smiled. A perfect, symmetrical smile that never reached her eyes. Exactly what your manifest states. Paper mill, chemical additives. I glanced at my manifest again. That's what it said. But whatever was under that tarp was no chemical tank I'd ever seen. I need to document the cargo condition, she continued, stepping past me into the trailer. She pulled back the tarp just enough for me to glimpse what looked like a glass cylinder mounted on a metal base. Inside the glass, something dark moved, shifting and flowing like liquid smoke. The woman quickly recovered it and stepped back. Everything appears to be in order. Your return cargo is being prepared now. Return cargo? I hadn't been told about hauling anything back. Of course, Oakmont wouldn't want you running an empty trailer. Efficient use of resources. Her smile remained fixed. While we wait, would you like some coffee? The break room is just through those doors. Every instinct screamed it was a trap, but refusing would signal my suspicions. I needed to appear cooperative, normal. Coffee sounds great, I said. I followed her across the loading dock to a steel door marked Employees Only. She punched a code into the keypad, 1983, and the door clicked open. The break room beyond was surprisingly ordinary. Vinyl chairs around laminate tables, vending machines along one wall. A TV mounted in the corner playing a muted 24-hour news channel. A coffee station with a half-full pod on the warmer. Help yourself, the woman said, gesturing to the coffee. I'll check on your return shipment. She left, the door closing behind her with a metallic thunk. I heard the distinct sound of a lock engaging. I poured coffee into a styrofoam cup, but didn't drink it. Instead, I studied the room, looking for cameras. 2 in opposite corners, small black domes recessed into the ceiling. I kept my expression neutral, as if I suspected nothing. My phone vibrated in my pocket. No caller ID on the screen. Hello? I answered cautiously. Don't react. Kerr's voice came through, faint and staticky. They're watching. The coffee is drugged. Don't drink it. How are you calling me? I whispered, turning away from the cameras. The stone creates a connection. Listen carefully. What you delivered isn't chemicals. It's a container for the energy they harvest. And what they're loading for your return trip is much worse. What is it? A seed. They're expanding their operation to another location, using you as the courier. My blood ran cold. Where? Near your daughter's school. No coincidence. The devourer sensed your connection to her. They're following the path of least resistance. I thought of my ex-wife's house in Garfield, Amelia's school in Cresco, both less than an hour from West Milford. How do I stop them? You don't leave with that trailer, period, but you need to make them think you will. The guard at the gate knows something's up. The woman in the lab coat, too. Not people, Kerr said. Extensions of the devourer. Its awareness spreading. The line crackled. You need a distraction to get out of there. Use the stone. How? Break it, but only as a last resort. You'll lose its protection afterward. The line went dead as the door to the break room opened. The woman in the lab coat returned, still wearing that perfect empty smile. Your trailer is being loaded now, she said. Finish your coffee and we'll get you on your way. I raised the cup to my lips, but didn't let the liquid touch them. Any special handling instructions for the return cargo? Nothing complicated. Just ensure it reaches its destination by sunrise tomorrow. The integrity of the container depends on the timetable. Where exactly am I delivering it? I asked casually. The manifest I received only had pickup details. Her smile faltered slightly. The destination coordinates will be provided once you're en route. Standard procedure for sensitive materials. Of course. I nodded. Mind if I use the restroom before hitting the road? She pointed to a door at the back of the break room. Please be quick. Your window for departure is narrow. In the small bathroom, I splashed water on my face and pulled out the stone Kerr had given me. It had grown warmer, almost hot to the touch, with the blue swirls moving more rapidly beneath its black surface. Breaking it would create a distraction, but I'd lose whatever protection it offered. I needed another way out. I stared at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, noticing for the first time how exhausted I looked. Dark circles under my eyes, a day's worth of stubble. But something else caught my attention. A barely perceptible blue glow around my silhouette, visible only at certain angles. The stone was already working, altering how I appeared in this reality. An idea formed. If the stone affected perception, perhaps I could use that. I slipped it back into my pocket and returned to the break room. The woman stood exactly where I'd left her, as if she hadn't moved a muscle. All set, I said, placing the untouched coffee cup on the table. Lead the way. She escorted me back to the loading dock, where my trailer doors now stood closed and resealed. A different manifest had been attached to the clipboard, hanging on the back. Sign here to confirm receipt of cargo, she said, extending the tablet again. I signed with a flourish, deliberately changing my signature from the previous one. She didn't seem to notice. Safe travels, Mr. Della Croce, she said with that same empty smile. Oakmont values your service. I climbed into my cab, started the engine, and eased away from the dock. The guard raised the gate as I approached without checking my paperwork again. Too easy. They were confident I was trapped. Once clear of the paper mill property, I pulled onto the shoulder and grabbed my phone. I punched in my ex-wife's number, praying she'd answer, despite the early hour. Frank? She sounded groggy. It's 5 a.m. What's wrong? Listen carefully, Maria. You need to get Amelia and leave the house right now, no questions. What are you talking about? There's no time to explain. People are coming. Bad people. Connected to my job. They might hurt her to get to me. Are you drunk? Is this some kind of... Maria, I snapped, cutting her off. I have never asked you for anything since the divorce. I'm asking now. Take Amelia and go to your sister's in Hoboken. Don't tell anyone where you're going. I'll explain everything later. A long pause. Then, you really are scared? Yes. Another pause. Okay, we'll go. But you owe me one hell of an explanation, Frank. You'll get it, I promise. Just hurry. I ended the call and slipped out of the truck cab, making my way to the back. Using my bolt cutters from the toolbox, I broke the seal on the trailer and opened the doors. Inside sat a glass cylinder similar to the one I'd delivered, but smaller. This one was about the size of a water cooler bottle, mounted on a metal base with digital readouts. Inside, something dark and liquid-like swirled. Not smoke or liquid, but something that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. A seed, Kerr had called it. A piece of the devourer being transported to a new feeding ground. I closed the trailer doors without touching the cylinder. Then I disconnected the trailer entirely, leaving it on the shoulder of the road. As I pulled away and just the cab, my phone rang again. Dawn broke as I raced south on Route 23, my cab feeling oddly light without its trailer. The stone from Kerr grew hotter in my pocket, almost uncomfortable against my thigh. Morning commuters began to appear on the road. Normal people heading to normal jobs, unaware of the nightmare unfolding around them. My phone hadn't stopped ringing. Vince's calls gave way to unlisted numbers, then to strange sequences that shouldn't even be possible. Strings of symbols instead of digits. I turned the device off completely. The dashcam still ran, but now the time discrepancy had closed. Both realities had synchronized with Dawn's arrival. The screen showed exactly what I saw through my windshield. Morning traffic, strip malls, traffic lights. I tried the radio, seeking traffic updates. Every station played the same thing, static overlaid with what sounded like breathing. I switched it off. At a gas station in Wayne, I ditched my Oakmont logbook and company ID, paid cash for coffee, and checked my appearance in the convenience store bathroom mirror. The blue aura around my reflection had intensified, visible now without having to search for it. The stone was working overtime. Back on the road, I noticed a black Tahoe merging onto the highway, 3 cars behind me. Its windows were tinted dark, hiding the driver. I took the next exit abruptly, cutting across 2 lanes of traffic. The Tahoe followed. I navigated side streets through Patterson, trying to lose my tail while still making progress toward Cresco. Checking my mirrors at a stoplight, I saw the Tahoe still there, now just 1 car back. My phone powered itself on in my cup holder. A text message appeared on the screen. The seed is germinating ahead of schedule. Your daughter is already changing. Come back to Clinton Road, Frank. Bring Amelia. We can help her. I turned the phone off again and yanked the battery out for good measure. 40 minutes after leaving the trailer, I reached Cresco. Amelia's school, Cresco Academy, a red brick building with white columns, came into view. The parking lot was mostly empty this early, just a few teachers' cars and maintenance vehicles. I parked across the street and called Maria from a payphone, feeding it quarters with shaking fingers. "Where are you?" I asked when she answered. "On the turnpike, heading to Joyce's place. Amelia's with me." Relief washed through me. Thank God. Is she okay? She's asleep in the back seat. Frank, what is going on? I had to pull her out of school for the week, make up some family emergency. It is a family emergency. Have you noticed anything strange about her behavior lately? A pause. She's been having nightmares, talking about a mountain calling to her. I thought it was just teenage drama or something she saw in a horror movie. My blood ran cold. The devourer had already established a connection. When did the nightmare start? About a week ago, right after. She hesitated. Right after she tried to call you, but you didn't pick up. She was pretty upset. The timing matched my first night on Clinton Road, when I'd seen the boy at the bridge. Listen carefully, I said. Don't go to your sister's. They might look for you there. I'm texting you coordinates for a place in the Pine Barrens. People there can help us. Can you write this down? I could hear the fear in Maria's voice now. Frank, you're scaring me. You should be scared. But you need to be smart too. These coordinates, go there directly. Don't stop anywhere else. I relayed the numbers Kerr had given me, making her repeat them back twice. I'm going to destroy this phone, I told her. When you get to those coordinates, someone will contact you. Tell them you're Frank Delacroce's family. Who are these people? I'm not entirely sure, but they're our only chance. Frank, I'll meet you there as soon as I can. Keep Amelia close. Don't let her use any electronics. No phone, no tablet, nothing. If she starts talking about a mountain or a voice calling her, don't engage with it. Change the subject. Is she in danger? Yes, but we're going to protect her. I said goodbye and hung up, just as the black Tahoe rounded the corner, moving slowly down the school street. I ducked behind a hedge, watching through the leaves as it pulled into the school parking lot. 2 men emerged, both wearing dark suits despite the warm May morning. One was tall and lean with close-cropped gray hair. The other was shorter, stockier, with a shaved head. Neither looked like my dispatcher Vince or anyone else I recognized from Oakmont. They approached the school's front entrance, moving with the confident stride of people accustomed to authority, FBI, company security, or something else entirely. I couldn't risk staying. If they were looking for Amelia, they'd soon discover she wasn't in class today. That would lead them to Maria. I needed to buy time for my family to reach the Pine Barrens. Decision made, I jogged back to my truck and headed north again. Not toward Clinton Road, I'd never return there, but toward Oakmont's depot in Newfoundland. Time to confront the source. The drive back north took longer, with morning traffic filling the highways. By 8 a.m., I pulled into the truck stop across from Theo's Diner, where this had all started. The Oakmont depot sat a quarter-mile down the road, a nondescript warehouse with a gravel lot for the trucks. From my vantage point in the truck stop parking lot, I could see unusual activity at the depot. 3 black SUVs parked haphazardly near the entrance. Men in tactical gear moving equipment inside. Whatever plan had been disrupted by my abandoning the trailer, they were scrambling to adjust. A tap on my window startled me. Barb from the diner stood there, her red-framed glasses and lined face immediately recognizable. I rolled down the window cautiously. "You shouldn't have come back," she said without preamble. "You know about this? About Oakmont?" She glanced toward the depot. "Everyone local knows something's wrong with that outfit. Been that way since they started the Clinton Road route in the 90s. Did you know they were feeding drivers to that thing in the mountain? Not the specifics, just that drivers disappeared." She studied my face. "You've got the glow. You've seen beyond the veil." I touched my cheek. "The glow? Blue aura. Marks those who've encountered the devourer and survived. Means you're changing." The words sent a spike of fear through me. "Changing how?" "Depends on the person. Some go mad. Some develop abilities. Some just die slow as it eats them from inside out." She nodded toward the depot. "They're looking for you. Radio chatter's been non-stop." "You monitor their radios?" A thin smile. "Been tracking Oakmont for years. My son was one of the first drivers to disappear on Clinton Road." Understanding dawned. "You gave me the rules card to help me. Try to warn everyone who takes that route. Few listen." I left their trailer on Route 23. Whatever was inside. I know. Police scanner lit up an hour ago. Hazmat team dispatched. Too late, though. Too late. The seed cracked open. Footage online already. Witnesses filmed something dark spreading across the asphalt. 3 cars drove through it before police closed the road. The implications hit me like a physical blow. "It's loose. It's spreading." Barb nodded grimly.
Grab it.
"That's their real business. Oakmont. They're not harvesting energy. They're distributing it, creating new feeding grounds.
You got
For
it?
what
Okay,
purpose?
perfect. Go put it in the...
Power. Influence.
Actually, I think it just automatically goes
The fear it
into
generates
inventory.
changes brain chemistry.
All right, where's this
Makes people
light?
suggestible.
Like right here.
Useful for those who want control.
Perfect.
She glanced over her
Oh,
shoulder.
you accidentally put the salts beside
You need
each
to
other. No
leave.
big deal. Okay.
Now they've got your plate number. They'll find you here. I need to get to the Pine Barrens.
This one in here?
My family. I know a back way. Old
one
Forest
with you?
Service roads. Not on any
Yes.
GPS.
All right, where do you want to? How?
She handed me a hand-drawn map.
Oh, actually,
Follow
bring it
this
in here.
exactly.
Bring it in here.
Don't stop for anyone.
Set it right here by this front door.
Why are you helping
like
me?
On one of, put it...
Pain
yeah.
flickered across her weathered face. Because I couldn't save my Ginny. But maybe I can help
Does it say
save
F,
your
right?
Amelia.
It just works.
My phone, now batteryless and supposedly dead,
Okay.
lit up in the
I'm gonna
cup holder.
grab
Impossible but happening nonetheless.
EMF because I'm not having
No
any
number
luck
or
with the spare
text
box.
appeared on
Is
the
there more
screen.
salt?
I'm gonna grab
Just the
this, too.
image of a mountain silhouette against a dark sky.
This. And
Barb's eyes
if someone
widened.
should grab a camera and follow
It's
me
tracking
around
you.
for a photo of my
The stone isn't enough
Yes.
anymore.
EMF, that would be great.
What do I do?
Okay. And I'll
You
grab
need a
the
permanent
sound recorder.
shield.
We need sounds, right?
The people in the Barrens can help,
No.
but you have to
What
reach
was
them
that?
first.
What was it again?
She reached into her
already
apron
detected the
pocket
ghost with the
and
motion
withdrew a
sensor, by the
small
way.
cloth
We
pouch.
gotta check on that.
Heck yeah.
Iron
What was it again
filings,
to put the dot
salt, and grave dirt.
What was it again to put the
Hold
dot
protection.
Hold the F
Wrap your phone
and then
in
use
it.
your mouse to orient.
I took the
There we go.
pouch and sealed my phone
F
inside
is
it.
place, always.
The screen went
I
dark
gotta follow
immediately.
Britt around with the
One more
with the
thing,
camera. Do y'all want to come grab
Barb
the
said,
UV
her
lights
voice
and
dropping
wander
to a
around?
whisper.
And the thermometer.
The rules work both ways.
Oh, I thought we
They
wanted
protect
to-
you from it, but they also constrain it.
Well, they can hold
That's
3
why it
items,
wants
though.
the rules destroyed.
Well,
I would just grab both and
How do I
tag
use
team
that?
the UV first, and then
If you're cornered, recite the
Tag team
rules
them
out
all.
loud.
Oh, shit.
All of
Lights
them
just
you
went
can
out.
remember.
I ran out
It
the
creates a boundary it cannot cross.
door. Jesus. All right.
Movement at the depot caught my
Pick up
eye.
some stuff.
Men loading into the SUVs, preparing to leave. Go,
No more locked
Barb
doors.
urged. South exit,
Preemptive guess.
behind the
Preemptive
truck
guess, we'll
wash.
see.
They won't see
I'm
you
gonna
from there.
preemptively pick a.
I started my
Oh,
engine.
yeah.
Come with me. They'll
Just
know
for
you
fun,
helped
just
me.
for funsies.
She shook her head. My place is here. Still drivers coming through who need
Oh,
warnings.
I need to grab one more thing, Sam.
Thank you, I said.
Oh, thank you.
For everything.
I just thought.
Don't thank me, Frank. Just break the cycle. Save your
I don't know how
girl.
to get it from you.
And if
I
you make it
just-
to the Barrens, her voice caught.
It's F.
ask if they ever found a driver
All right, we
named
got-
James
I don't know
Winslow.
controller.
My son.
I'm not throwing it.
I
it up?
will.
Well, you can keep it.
Are you already
I pulled
inside?
away,
I got
circling
another one.
behind the truck wash as directed.
Oh, I need one of these, right?
In my mirror, I saw Barb
Yes.
walking calmly back to the diner
Well, I can't
as
see
the
you.
Oakmont SUVs
I'm right
roared
here.
out of the depot.
I'm telling you. I set him at
The
the door.
hunt was on.
Okay.
I followed
That's-
Barb's
that's
map,
recorder.
Had to
You
grab
want
one.
me to
turning
record
onto
it?
a narrow dirt road that cut through dense pine forest.
No, we.
The truck wasn't built for off-roading, but it would have to manage.
I've got
Somebody got
pictures.
that.
According to the map, these
I got
service
video
roads
cameras
would
and something.
eventually connect to
Alright,
County
yeah,
Route
is there a second?
515,
Alright, good. Alright, so
letting me
what's that?
bypass the main highways where they'd be watching.
Any successful
The stone in my
EMF
pocket
reading.
had cooled, no longer burning against my
You just tell me
leg.
when to click.
Whatever protection it offered was fading,
I'm trying to drop this.
just as Kerr had warned.
Are you pretty close to me?
As the truck bounced along the rutted forest
G.
road, I
G is
recited
dropping.
every rule
Yeah.
I could remember from the card. A mantra of survival,
There we go.
a boundary
I got it. I
between
got an EMF
myself
reader.
and the darkness
I'll
that
see what
hunted
I got,
us.
So let me do that first.
Ahead
Come over
lay
here
the
and sit
Pine
this corner with
Barrens
me.
and whatever refuge Kerr's people offered. Behind me,
Alright, so you
Hey,
turn
we're
off
at a
the
something
light.
one.
ancient
I don't
and
know if that
hungry
counts.
clawed at the edges of
Nothing
reality,
going on in the
seeking a
hallway.
way
Can you
through.
can you see me in the
And
camera?
somewhere in
Nah,
between,
not really.
Did you
Maria
already
and
set-
Amelia
I
drove toward
can.
an uncertain
Did you already
sanctuary,
set the,
carrying the very
shit,
connection
the
the
door's
devourer
open.
needed to spread.
oh shit, door just
The
Uh,
moved.
Pinewood cabin sits deep in the
Pretty sure
Wharton
he's in the
State
kitchen.
Forest, camouflaged
stuff
by
happened,
towering
actually.
Atlantic white cedars and pitch
Okay.
pines.
Are y'all able to reset?
We're
Smoke
holding,
curls from the stone chimney despite the summer heat.
I did.
Okay.
Inside, 14
Oh, shit.
laminated cards
Okay, we got
hang on the wall,
we got
each displaying the
pretty up
same
there.
rules with
We were at
slight
4.
He's
variations.
here.
I had the 15th, my own
Larry,
version,
calm down, buddy.
updated with what I learned on Clinton Road. Dad,
EMF's going pretty
Amelia
crazy, but
stands
it's
in the
not 5.
doorway, her hair pulled
It jumped
back
up
in the
there for a hot
same neat
minute, like
ponytail,
4.5.
but her
Yeah,
eyes
he knocked
older
something off
now.
the table.
The nightmares have
Where's
Where's
faded,
the light switches?
but she still
Did you-
wakes
did he flip-
sometimes, whispering
did he
about
flip the,
mountains and
the-
dark water.
Freaking.
Just finishing up,
Did y'all reset
I
it?
tell
No.
her.
Before
She
we go,
studies
can
the
you guys
wall
reset
of
the lights with
rules.
us?
Do you
I'm-
really
I'm
think
trying-
they'll help others?
Trying to see if
I'm
we got
trying to
our objective.
They helped me find you.
We're going in.
Maria appears behind our daughter, resting her hand on Amelia's
Oh, shit,
shoulder.
Where's the fuse box at?
Not
Fuse box?
reconciliation between
we
us,
got it. Yay!
Too much history
Now we
there,
need to capture
but a
3
fragile
unique photos,
alliance
so let's
forged
check
in
our
survival.
media.
Oh shit.
Meeting starting,
Oh shit.
Maria says.
He's talking to
Kerr
us.
brought someone new.
All
shit.
there's
I follow them
there's
to the
one
main
that's
cabin where 30
the
people
one that's
gather.
$5, don't
Some
delete.
bear visible
Yeah.
scars,
Oh, shit,
missing
I'm dead.
fingers,
Fuck.
burn marks,
Oh.
eye
Believe us.
patches.
We
all
tried to
carry
get, I said,
invisible
all of us go
ones.
to get this thing.
The
They're like, "No, we
survivors
got
of
our own
Clinton
plan.
Road and
We're
other
dead
places
here.
like it.
No, we're
Kerr
dead.
stands at the center,
Really?
still wearing
Yep.
his park ranger
Your
uniform,
sanity is still up.
though the Newark watershed
right,
hasn't
yeah,
existed for
it
years.
just dropped.
Beside him, a woman in her
guys.
70s with familiar red-framed
Well, man, we tried
glasses.
to see if we got our objective.
Barb,
We told you we
I
were running to
say,
the truck.
genuinely surprised.
Yeah, we said-
You made it out.
I'm like, hey.
She
y'all got-
nods.
hey, y'all got it.
Depot burned to the ground.
Yeah, we did. We did get
Had to
our photo.
run.
Yep.
Kerr raises his hand
now
for
we need to get
silence.
3
We've
more
confirmed 3
photos
new
of
sites where
the
Oakmont
ghost
has established
itself.
footholds.
3 unique
Seeds
photos
planted
with a
from the
photo camera.
original
It just has
source.
to be a photo, not
Upper
necessarily a
Michigan,
ghost. Wolfie, where are
Eastern
you?
Oregon,
At the front door.
Central Florida.
Oh, I thought you said you
Murmurs
died.
ripple through the group.
I'm at the front
coming.
The government
Let her out,
containment
let her out.
team
Oh,
lost
no.
2
It's in
men
the
at the
kitchen
Route
area. I
23
don't know if
site
it's
last
coming
week.
towards you or
No,
not.
I got
Kerr
you, I got you,
continues.
I got you.
They're calling it a
No,
chemical
yeah,
spill,
Jeez.
but we know better.
Gross.
What about the boy at the bridge? Someone
I didn't know
asks.
you said we
Any
were dead.
contact?
I was like,
No,
oh,
rat
okay,
the-
well,
None.
sorry.
Kerr says.
Nope, I ran away.
The original manifestations
out,
appear
she closed the door
dormant
on me.
since Oakmont accelerated their harvesting.
Exactly
I step
what
forward.
happened.
They're not feeding it
all right.
anymore. They're breeding it, farming it. The room
Okay.
falls silent.
Let's
The rules
regroup
protected drivers on
the,
Clinton Road.
All right, so
I
we need
explain.
3 photos, and
But
we
the
also need
rules also contain the devourer, kept it bound to specific behaviors,
All right, I'm gonna
specific
go ahead and mark
limitations.
one.
Barb
EMF
nods.
was pretty up there.
That's why they
But it
hired
wasn't a
Frank
5,
here,
No,
and all of
it
you,
wasn't. It was like
to test the boundaries, find the loopholes.
4.
And once they understood the rules well enough, I
Yeah.
continue, they could exploit them. Create controlled versions they could transport elsewhere. Kerr unfolds a map across the central table. Red
Can you
dots
check
mark the
ghostwriting,
confirmed
Raph? Are you in the
sites.
house?
Black dots show suspected locations.
Yeah, but I don't know if I can
Lines
see it
connect
once I'm
them in a
dead.
complex
You
web.
can.
Yeah, we'll show.
They're creating a network, he
Yeah, I think
says.
so.
All right, give me a
Feeding grounds connected by human travel.
second.
Trucking routes mainly.
I have
The
one right here
perfect
by the door, but I
distribution
need, like,
system. But why? Maria asks. What do they gain?
Is that
It's
you
right here,
moving
this-
around?
Control. Barb
Yeah,
answers
that's a
simply.
ghost.
That's him. He's coming.
Fear
He's coming.
changes
Get off, get off. I
people,
hear him.
makes them easier
He
to
sounds like he's in the
influence,
house. He runs.
to
In the house.
manipulate.
I'm dead.
No, I'm not in
I
the
think of
house.
my desperate drive to save
He's just
Amelia.
passing through
How
the
close
motion
I came
sensor
to
right
turning
here. I was
back
trying to see
toward
if I could see
Clinton
him on the
Road
dot
when the
projector.
entity
Open the
threatened
door all
her.
the way. You can do that.
We're
Open the
mapping
door
the
all the way.
rules
Point
at
the
each
flashlight.
new
There you go. Now
site,
you get back out of the
Kerr
house.
explains.
Just point the flashlight
They're
to the side.
different, adapted to local conditions.
There's nothing written here.
Okay,
The
you gotta
rules
check the one
change.
in the kitchen.
I murmur,
I'm going.
remembering the message from my
It's on
phone.
the table.
Wolfie?
Amelia touches my arm. Dad, there's
All right,
something
so
I
now we need
haven't
to
told
check
you.
the,
In my dreams, I sometimes see new rules.
What table?
Rules that haven't been written
in the
yet.
kitchen, on the
Every eye
on the
turns to
table
her.
closest, like
The first one
closer
is
to where the
always
hutch
the
is when you
same.
walk through
She
the
says,
kitchen, and like
her
you're gonna
voice
sit down
steady
in that
despite her
first
youth.
Table.
The
it's
old
first seat
rules
to the
no
right of
longer
the head of the
apply.
table.
What once
Oh,
contained
it's,
now
it's
spreads.
closed, if that's what you're looking at.
And the
Oh,
second,
no, it's open. It's just
Kerr
really
asks
dark.
softly.
No, it's open. It's
Amelia
just
looks
really, really
directly
fucking
at
dark. I
me,
can't see.
her
You
green
can't see?
eyes, so like
No,
mine,
it's dark.
holding steady.
Shit, okay.
I'm
Every
putting a light
road is
on it.
Clinton Road now.
No, there's nothing on it.
Outside, beyond the
There's
safety of
there's
our hidden
footprints.
camp, night falls on the
There's
Pine
footprints in the
Barrens.
salt.
In the distance, headlights move
There's
along
been
dark
auto race.
highways,
Evident.
each
auto
vehicle
race.
carrying passengers who don't yet understand.
I can.
The
Hey.
rules have
Perfect.
changed,
Hunt.
and we're all night drivers now.
What does the Hunter do again?
If you
Threaten
guys
the
can
coldest
get-
climate, seem to make more aggressive in power. Lower temperatures allow hot